Hello everyone! Today I have something quite special for you. I designed this poster a while ago and I thought it would be a good idea to show the whole process behind this. So this is the result. This is what we are going to create today, and let's get into it. So here we have the whole process. So I created multiple frames. Each next frame is a step in the process, and we are going to take a blank frame and walk through these steps, and I will show you the whole process so you will be able to understand what's going on here. Let's get into it. So we have an empty frame, an empty white frame, and the first step would be to create a dark background and add text. So we are going to do just that. I will go to the fill section right here, and the color we will be using is 161616. I'm going to type that down. It's not going to be transparent, fully opaque. And then we will use the text tool to create the headline. Create. Now, since Figma remembers the previous settings of this tool, I do have the identical font and font size already set up. You won't probably be able to do that, but the font is called Avenue Next and it's bold. The font size is 300 pixels. It's also good to mention that the size of the frame is 2480 by 3508. So that's the first step. We are going to position it approximately into a similar place in the layout. So that's around 540 pixels from the top. Yeah, that works. And we are ready to move on to the next step. So what do we have here? We have an ellipse with many colors. We need to analyze this. What's the anatomy of this gradient? So it's basically two gradients, as you can see right here, and it's two radial gradients. One goes from this color, cyan, to pure magenta, and the second one is also a radial gradient, and it goes from blue to fully transparent blue. Let's see how this is built. So we press O to access the ellipse tool, click and drag. Remove this fill and we'll add our own radial. So it's going from cyan, which is like this, to magenta. Let's position it correctly. Yeah. Now on to the next one. We do have a blue radial gradient. So again, radial, going from completely blue to completely blue and transparent. The position is, it kind of originates from the bottom left, like so, and it is fully visible. Yeah, maybe adjust the position a little bit. I think this is good enough. Now we are going to match the size, the actual size of the circle, which is 1302. Let's center this out. Again, approximate the position. 240. Cool. I think that's it. we can move on to the next step. Okay, there's some copy and there are some dots. Each one of these dots is 30 pixels tall, and it's, let's count these, 7 by 4, and the gaps are also 30. So let's build this. We are going to oh, and also it has there is a mask, right? There is a mask that kind of makes sure that these dots go from lighter gray to darker gray. We are going to build everything, don't worry. So again, ellipse 30. We said it's 7 by 4, right? So let's make them white. That's 2, that's 4, that's 8, and 7. So that's 7, and then seven by 4. Let's group this. And we need to add a mask. So we will create a rectangle that fits perfectly over this group of circles. It's going to be, again, a radial gradient with originating from around here and ending around here, going from white to transparent white. And we will rearrange these and then select them and click this. So in case you missed that, it's a rectangle that is going from non-transparent to transparent. We have a gradient. It's beneath a group of circles. We select both of them and then click use as mask. So that's what we did here. That's very similar. I think we only need to adjust the transparency. Right here it's 50 and this is 100. So yeah, I think that's exactly the look we are going for. So we have that. We are going to position that in the correct position right here. Let's measure that. So that's 365 from the right. And from the bottom that would be 621. Okay, that's it. Good. Now we will be creating the copy. This is very philosophical, yeah, we are going to use a text tool and type in, oh, let's make this smaller. So the font is called Montserrat. The size is 22. Oops. The line height is 56. Oops, 56 here. And it's all caps. And it's actually justified to the right. So we will begin typing. Is there anything, oops, different keyboard, sorry. Anything more profound than to imitate powers that made you be? We will also need to set the letter spacing to 8% and then change the size of this field. Yep. Okay. So there are two colors in this text field. We do have white that is partially transparent, and then we have non-transparent white. Let's set that up. So the whole thing is going to be white with 30% opacity, except for these two words, which are going to be 100. And this word, that's also going to be 100. Nice, we have that. Then we have a small line right here that is 140 pixels wide. We use a pen tool for that. So click and shift, enter. And then 4, make sure this is 140. What's the color? It's white with 20% opacity. So white, 20%. What's the position of this line? This looks like it's at the very center of the whole poster. So let's cut that, Command X, and paste it into the frame. No, align to the left, align to the center. And then we will take this text field and place it in the same position as the original poster. Or like this. This doesn't have to be precise, but I think, yeah, I think this works. I think that's the correct position. Nice. Okay, we are ready to move on. We do have the next step laid out right here. What changed? So you can see that at first I experimented with making the ellipse a bit smaller, but then I reverted back. We also have a small element right here that I didn't use. So we are going to ignore this and the ellipse and take care of that in the next step. We will create this rectangle and this ellipse behind the main ellipse, I guess. Okay, so again, ellipse tool, click and drag. The size will be 1291. We have a radial gradient going from white to transparent white. Like this, with the opacity of 20, right? So that should be it. Yeah, well, as I said, we do have, I will bring this to the front. We do have the next step, the ellipse is smaller, so let's set it up right away. So that's 882, right? And let's center that and center this as well. I think that's the correct setup. So if you look really closely, we do have a glow right here. So the glow is this object, this ellipse, with a blur applied and decreased opacity. Let's do that. Let's copy this. Effects, layer blur, and then how much is this? 334. That's a lot. The size of the glow will be 1409. Good. Opacity is 20. And then let's move this behind the other layers. Yep, I think that's it. You can also notice that this background circle looks a bit different. So let's see what we messed up. Maybe it's just an illusion. I don't know. So let's finalize this. We are going to create this little rectangle thing right here. So a rectangle 1013 by 1433. It has one rounded corner of 260. And again, a radial gradient going from white to transparent white. Like this. And the whole rectangle has 10% opacity. 10. Let's place this. Let's check the distance. So you can see that the top left corner is actually at the very center of the circle and the whole poster. Let's try and position that this way. We do have a little helping guide with these red dots, and we will move this into the background as much as we can. Okay, let's move on to the next step. What do we have here? There's a new line, 5 pixels thick, going from white to transparent white again, all the way to the bottom. Let's do that. And we can see that it's aligned to the left edge of the main ellipse. So let's do that. Let's use a pen tool. The height is going to be the same as the poster, 3508. Let's align this. Let's set this to 5. Set a linear stroke. And yes, that's it. The opacity will be 20. And position that right here. Oh, you can see that the spacing between these letters in this headline is -2, so let's adjust. You can see that when we set up the line, it didn't align perfectly with the headline, whereas here it did. So that's the reason. -2. How come it's still not? Oh, and the font size is 295. Okay. So for some reason, the ellipse still looks a bit different to me, this bottom one. I feel, yes, that's the reason. So this transparent white, it's not fully transparent, it's actually 10% opacity. Nice. Now it's, yes, that's better. Cool. Okay, I think that looks good. We are ready to move on to the next step, which is this one. What changed? Let's see what changed. We do have a new line, and also we do have a new rectangle. So I think we can just copy this line and then divide this by 2, since it goes to the half of the poster. I think that looks good. And then the rectangle, that is 365 by 714. And it's fully rounded. So let's set this to, I don't know, 200. There's a radial gradient again. Yes, there's a lot of radial gradients in this tutorial. Again, white to transparent white. And opacity set to 15. Yeah, I think that's the look we are going for. Let's paste that here. And make sure the distances are identical. So that's 117 from the top and left. It's a lot of arrows, but should be correct. Cool. And yeah, let's check if this is the correct gradient, and it isn't. It's again 20 instead of 0. Let's set that up. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, I think we are ready to move on to the next step. So, again, what changed? Nope. What changed? We do have a few new objects. We do have this circle right here. It has a shadow, if you look closely. Then we have these shapes and these shapes right here. So let's get started with this one. That will be very easy because the colors are identical to this ellipse. We will bring that forward and set the dimensions to 139. $204 from the top. And then let's add the shadow. So this is a drop shadow with these values, 54, 54, and 44 on the blur. And 30% opacity on the black color of the shadow. So let's do that. Effects, drop shadow, we set 54, 54, and 44, and 30. Yep, that was easy. That's it. That's the shadow we are going for. I also noticed that the opacity of these dots changed and the size of them as well. They are now 20 by 20 with a gap of 40. Let's adjust that. We'll select the layer. 20 and 40, yes, that's it. And also the opacity looks like 100, right? Yep. And then let's add these little shapes. So this is a rectangle, 286 pixels wide and tall, so it's a square. It has one rounded corner, completely rounded, 286. And the colors are identical to, again, these shapes. So let's copy that. Let's copy these two, select these two, Command C and Command V. Boom, that was easy. Let's remove this one. I think we need to adjust these a little bit so you can see that the position of the colors is not the same. So it looks as if it was rotated and then flipped, I guess. Or not. So let's actually remove this rounding and add that rounding to here. Close enough, right? I think that's, yeah, I think that's close enough. And then we also have a similar shape with a radial gradient going from white to transparent white. At least that's what it looks like. Let's rotate this, remove this, radial, position it like this. And it's probably not fully transparent white, and it's 20 again. So it's white, 20, and the whole thing is set to 20% opacity. Yeah, I think that's it. The size is going to be 227, and it's positioned right here. Yeah, that's what we are going for. So this whole thing is then aligned to the right side of the whole poster, and the distance from the top is going to be 230. So let's take this, cut, paste, align to the right, to the top, and let's add 230 to the Y axis. Good. Let's sort these out. We are going to borrow. We are going to borrow this shape. Rotate that again. Extend. Yeah, I think that's it. I was lazy, so that's probably what I did. I took this, rotated it, and positioned it in a different place. So the dimensions of this are 286 by 516. Nice. And then I believe this is just completely the same thing with this shape. Let's rotate, enlarge. 831 on the height. Oops, no. Oh, so we need to swap these. 831 to 86. Good. Yeah, I think that's it. Again, let's take these, group them, cut them, click our poster and paste. Left, bottom, and then distance from the left is 227. 227. Here we go. Yeah, we are almost done. This is really hard to notice, but there is a gradient on the background of this poster. It's a black radial gradient going from normal black to transparent black, and we will add this here as well. So let's click the frame, add new fill, radial, black to transparent black. Let's swap these colors. And that's it. Oops, no. We actually need to swap these again, sorry, and then rotate it. Good. Yeah, Let's move on to the next step. What changed? We have these little two lines. Let's recreate them. So let's use the pen tool. It will be 100 pixels wide. It's going to be a dashed line. It's going to be a magenta. FF00FF. It has a thickness of 2. And it's being rotated 45 degrees. We have the same thing right here, but in cyan. Let's position these two right here onto the main ellipse. So I will first drag them over here, align to the right and bottom, and now I will move them like this. Yeah, that looks good. Same thing here. Here we go. And we are almost done. We are almost there. So the very last step is going to be adding, again, also hard to notice, adding a white radial gradient to the top here. I'm not sure it's even visible, but let's just go with it anyway. Again, to this frame, it's going to be radial. It's going to be white. Originating from here. The shape of the gradient is going to be, okay, about the same as we already have. And the transparency of this gradient is going to be 4%, so it's almost invisible. It's just a little nice touch. So yeah, that's it. We are done here. We do have a finished poster that looks like this. You have seen the process step by step. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.